Ladies and gentlemen, this Red Gaming Sitcom video we're going to be discussing PlayStation 4's Killzone Shadow Fall. Apparently the title was almost 290 gigabytes, but the developers have managed a series of optimizations, we'll discuss those in just a moment, to get it down to a much more reasonable and much more manageable 40 gigabytes, actually slightly less. So we know that the next generation games are becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. For example, the PC version of Call of Duty Ghosts originally was rumoured to be weighing in at about 50 gigabytes, and since Infinity Ward have actually said no, not quite that big, but still pretty damn big, 40 gigabytes. And so since then, we've all had experiences with titles like Grand Theft Auto 5, which have pretty much destroyed servers. And if you're familiar with the Steam sale, you'll know that despite the fact that, of course, Steam have a very robust system, even so it does indeed slow down to a crawl, although there are a few techniques you can use, for example, choosing a different server, a different location to get the file from, but still. So what's the cause of this? Why was Killzone Shadow Fall so damn big? Well, according to the technical art director of Guerrilla, his name is Michael van der Leeuw. I'm hoping I've pronounced that correctly. I've probably butchered his name, so I can only apologise to the poor man. But regardless, the bulk of it was the textures. I think we're probably a lot larger than the other cross-generation games because we have no assets that have been made to a lower spec. Remember as well, out of quote, that the levels are a much more open affair. And he said the surface area, he's obviously referring to the levels in the maps, I'm guessing here must be about 5 to 10 times bigger than Killzone 3 was. Now, believe it or not, Killzone Shadow Fall, in terms of raw size, is actually a small amount of a downsize from Killzone 3. Killzone 3 was actually about 1.5 gigabytes larger. Now, the reason that this was the case is because there was a lot of duplication. Basically what they did was they took many different versions of the same video in various different languages. They would have multiple versions of the same textures and much more. He said, and I quote, "I think at some point the disk image that we were generating was about 180 gigs, and if we were to put all the levels in, which we didn't, because then the disk image generator broke, it would have been around 290 gigabytes of data. So we had to completely re-architect how we were dealing with the data, and we did a lot of work. This is actually something I'm extremely proud of, to optimize our disk access patterns. Sony made special libraries for us because we were the first ones hitting these sort of problems. I think it's something that a lot of people will need to be doing in the future." Now, end quote for a moment. You may also remember that PlayStation 4 has the download as you playing option, and you're still going to need a fairly hefty amount of file to be able to do this. You're looking at about 7.5 gigs. Basically, the studio added onto this. Realistically, I think a lot of people can do this. It's just that the initial chunk of 7.5 gigabytes is quite big. I think if we would have known exactly how everything would work, I think next time around we'll try and see if we can design something that doesn't jeopardize the game, which will make it even friendlier. But I think all things considered, this being a launch title, and we've got like 2 minutes 44 from disk to the first level and had no installs, I think it's already a massive improvement over the previous generation. He also added, "To me, there's still something that fills my heart with joy when I see it. You insert the disc and go straight to the menu. People here have worked very hard. We had to ask Legal and Dolby, the epileptic warning stuff, the logos from Havoc. We had to negotiate with them that they could put it in the credits and not on the title screen. All the rules we are built around the previous generation. I'm really happy that we're one of the first ones to do this, and I hope it's an example that people are going to follow. I get as annoyed by all those loading screens as you do. I'm 36, I don't have a lot of time to game, and when I do, I don't want to be distracted by things that have nothing to do with playing the game. We came from a day and age with a cartridge, you just stick it in and it's like bleep. you were playing the game, and slowly that had degenerated into experiences that feel more like a beautiful and big and prestigious, but they feel heavy. To me, it's about the feeling of something you say, play, and it starts and plays. It feels quantitatively beautiful. And so, that's the end of the quote, incidentally. I think this is a really good example of the issues in the next generation. We can have incredibly powerful GPUs, we can have oodles of RAM, we can have ridiculously large hard drive, but the problem is that distributing in the media. One concern I have with the next generation, I don't like the size of either the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One's hard drive. Now, of course, with Sony, you can actually replace the hard drive pretty easily. With the X1, not so much, and I'm not really impressed by that. Okay, if you've bought the game, you can reinstall it, but still, it's a pain in the butt, especially as Microsoft are trying to push for digital distribution. As for Sony, well, titles like this are huge, and obviously they cannot just simply be distributing this stuff via the internet. Obviously, they would as well like to start pushing the distribution medium, but of course, who the hell, not many people are going to be happy to download a 200 or 150 gig file, even if your internet is fast. Even if it is quick enough to do it, you're going to be filling up the internal console hard drive real fast. I mean, even if you've got a 1 terabyte hard drive in your PlayStation 4, that's only around 5 games if they're going to be about 180 gigs. So obviously optimizations are incredibly important, incredibly crucial. And no doubt, this next generation is going to be having its own share of optimizations. PC gamers are already getting used to the pain of seeing a 30 or 40 gig install. Even Max Payne 3, which is a pretty damn old title now, to be honest with you, the install size for that sucker was around 30 gigs, and you just think to yourself, really? Anyway, I'm going to get going. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.